So Dom is on his way for the track day. I'm sure he's pretty excited to be back out again real quick. And you're in the wrong car.
Yeah. Don't go into track prep and rush it, and don't go into it with a bad headspace, because you're gonna fuck something up. Like I did.
There you go. Good advice.
Follow me for more life advice. So, how do you get into track days? Where do you find track days?
It's a lot easier than it seems.
Yeah.
Out the gate, obviously it depends on your region. We're in the Northeast. The first website that comes into mind is motorsportreg.com. They have regional information for literally any part of the country where you can go ahead and find tracks, track days, and organizers in your area. And a lot of them post their events on that website.
And they cover pretty much all of the big organizers, like Hooked on Driving.
EMRA's on there.
EMRA's a good one.
SCCA.
SCCA.
NASA. PCA. SDCA. And a ton of other ones that you'll come across.
I think it's SCDA.
Is it?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well,
I think Hooked on Driving has the best beginner program. They have some of the best instructors in the country. I mean, a lot of their instructors split their time between PCA and Hooked on Driving, and you are going to get top-notch instruction. Don't try to be a hero. Get yourself an instructor. Things that you learn are priceless. Don't be embarrassed to get in the car with an instructor.
it's the most encouraged thing.
And honestly, let him drive your car for a couple of laps during the first session. Let him feel the car out. That way he can give you or she can give you the best possible instruction.
They're constantly speaking to you and guiding you to stay on the line correctly, pointing out things that you did well, pointing out things that you can improve on, and everything else in between. Yep. So there you go. On to the next one. Preparation for track days. Most organizations are going to send you a checklist or a tech sheet.
Tech sheet, yeah.
Some of them require a mechanic. Most will take any. Some you can essentially tech the car yourself. But in terms of general prep, what would you start off with? What would you do?
Brake fluid and brake pads. And
keep in
rotors,
mind,
honestly, because you're traveling at such high rates of speed here. I mean, brake fluid.
Hold on, is that an Alpha?
Is that the Alfa Romeo Levante?
Is it?
I think so.
That's pretty cool. That's a 2J swapped Volvo 240. So as you can see, anybody's welcome.
In the beginner group.
In the beginner group with, what did he say, 540 wheel? It's a lot of power.
No fucks given.
Now, we don't want to overwhelm anybody. We're not saying you have to go out and get the best and most expensive parts.
Don't be intimidated. Check your fluids. Change them if necessary. Make sure your rotors are in good shape. Make sure your pads are in good shape. And send it.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Generally speaking, you can come out on basically any type of tire. In theory, right?
I would avoid coming out on all seasons. You're just going to destroy them and waste your money.
I did that on my first track day. Absolutely correct.
Nope. For somebody that's just coming out and wants just a good tire to be able to drive the car on the street if you drive your car to work, or, you know, it's just your street car and you want to come out and do a track day, the Michelins, the PS4Ss, you can't go wrong. They have great dry grip. They have great wet grip, and as a beginner driver, you're not going to outdrive that tire.
Anything 300 treadwear or lower, probably a 300 or a 200. Just get 4 donuts out of the back of the car and you'll be fine. That sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I just finished up a set of Falcon RT 660s, which were great. And Dom actually put me on a deal, or put me on notice for a deal that Tire Rack had for the Kumo V730s. 245 squares on 17s for the M3, and they were barely over $500.
I was going to order the tires, and I would have had 245 squared on an 18 for just a tad over $600.
Which is a great price
And
once you start researching.
Yeah, and I have a spare set of wheels in the house for the car, and I missed out on it.
Slept on it.
Yay me.
A little bit of that, and on to the next point.
So a little bit of a black flag in the first session. You want to tell us what a black flag is and what caused it?
Yes, fellow instructor Dominic, I would love to tell you what it is. Black flags generally mean that either an individual, if it's pointed at the driver, or if it's held or waved, the entire grid has to come back, or the entire group of cars has to come back into the pits, at least, or into the garages. I caught it on the GoPro, so we can probably segment it here. There was debris. Somebody lost their front lip on the main straight. So they started waving the black flag, brought us in, and immediately after taking it off, they brought us right back out, and things kind of resumed. It looked pretty wide. It might have been a vet. I'm not really sure. I don't know who lost it. It was a Corvette. Black Corvette right away. There you go. Yeah, it was a little bit wide for anything else, I think. I don't think anything else in that category out here today. All right, so now that you guys know how to sign up and how to prep your car,
And where to look for events.
the most important thing following that is what to bring. Helmet is a big one. Some organizers rent them, some do not. Make sure you have access to a helmet that is 15 at this point. They require 20.
I think 2015
10 years.
right now is the oldest that you can run. Rather.
That would make sense. It is, yeah. So it's a 10-year span, or 10-year duration.
Basic tools, a socket set. You know, you can pick one up at Harbor Freight for very cheap. Torque wrench, tire pressure gauge.
Backup fluids, maybe a chuck, some jack stands, and a jack.
I usually bring an impact gun. I'm lucky enough to have a couple in the garage. So jack stands, torque wrench, breaker bar, tire pressure gauge, helmet obviously. I do bring spare fluids. I usually bring a quart of oil with me. The checklists usually have all the safety items that are necessary to run with that particular group.
Yep, cool, awesome. The last point that we wanted to touch on was, I guess you can call it track etiquette, right? Most of it is going to be covered by your instructor and by the
driver's meeting, yeah.
And in the driver's meeting. Making sure you're paying attention to the flag workers, making sure you're paying attention to the cars around you, and doing your best to kind of keep traffic flowing, and especially in the situation of giving point buys. So you want to avoid being the person that isn't giving the point buys because, one, you'll be holding up traffic, and two, you're robbing yourself of the opportunity of watching somebody behind you who's quicker than you and allowing them to get in front of you so you can learn from their faster pace and maybe movements, line, etc. We're going to toss in a couple of clips below of how to point somebody by on your driver's side and also how to point somebody by on your passenger side. But yeah, other than that,
most important thing is just do it. Go out there and do it.
Enjoy it.
Have fun.
So that pretty much sums up the video. We hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, comments, something that we may have missed, something that you have more inquiry on, please feel free to drop a comment.
Slide in the DMs.
Slide in the DMs on Instagram, whatever it is. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and everything else that all the YouTube channels say. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one, all right?